To indicate the loose hairs that appear over the facial area, I'm using a Tombow mono eraser. I trim the end square, and using it at an angle, I'm able to erase long, thin areas. Twisting the eraser as you work results in a nice clean stripe. If you have pressed the graphite too hard onto the paper, it will be less easy removing it. Where possible, do the erasing before laying the dark graphite. You can then work around the erased areas. In another video, I will demonstrate another way of showing light-colored lines. Use a 2H pencil to lay down the initial lines of the hairs. Because I want the face to be the main focus, I'm not going to go into too much detail or try to draw the hair too realistically. I'll be taking an impressionistic approach. Use fewer lines in the highlight areas of the hair. The 2H pencil will be perfect for this area. Keep the 3B and the 6B pencils for the dark areas. The few fly hairs to the side add a more realistic feel to the drawing. And as we darken up the area, the face will show up much more due to the contrast between the two. And as usual, begin light and slowly work up to the darker tonal ranges. Indicate the darker areas by laying more lines over each other. Keep referring to the photograph for the placing of the lines and the differing tonal ranges. Erase out all the loose hairs that cross over the lower hairs. There are always some that go against the establishment, and we need to show them up for what they are. I'm using the 2B pencil to begin drawing the flower garland. To avoid smudging of previously drawn areas, always remember to protect them with a clean sheet of paper. I prefer to do that right from the very beginning. In hot weather, the hands may become sweaty or perhaps slightly oily, and this has the potential to ruin any drawing. It also pays to wash one's hands before starting a drawing. You know, prevention is better than cure. First indicate the outlines of all the flowers and leaves, and then lightly indicate the edges of the petals. Darken up the hairs directly below the garland. This will show up the garland by virtue of the contrasting tones, and the garland will also throw up its own shadow on the hair. Before working further on the garland, begin the hair on top of the head. This is catching more light, so will be lighter than below the garland. You will note that there are 3 main tonal ranges to take care of. As we darken up the upper section, the shape of the garland is starting to appear. I apologize for unintentionally cutting off the top of the head. Now that we have laid out the basic tonal ranges, we can start to darken up where necessary. And this brings out the light colors of the flowers. None of the pencil work involves shading, and all the hair is indicated by many short pencil lines or strokes. Any blending and shading is done with the paper stump. Once again, all loose hairs are lifted out with the Tombow eraser. Notice how I'm rolling the razor as I work. I also clean excess graphite off the razor on the paper. And when working on the flowers, be careful of going too dark. We want them to stand out against the dark of the hair. I'm only giving the impression of the petals, no detail at all. The viewer's brain will add in all the relevant details. Lift out more of the light hairs with the Tombow eraser. Use the 3B pencil to start adding the darker shading. Darkening either side of the raised fly hairs will reveal them better, and it is best to take your time when doing this. If you have erased too thick an area for the fly hairs, then carefully thin them down with the pencil. Another way is to just leave a thin, lighter strip when shading. Use the 6B pencil to build up the contrast here. Notice how the light lines are carefully left white, including the light fly hairs. Don't keep them all lined up like soldiers in a row. There are always hairs going in different directions. The hairs on the far side need some working on, and then continue on the near side. I'm still using the 6B pencil, but with different pressures for the varying tone ranges. I'm now using the 6B pencil to put in the deep shadows. Just add a few dark marks to give the impression of depth in the center of the flowers. Time now for a final check against the photograph and add a few final touch-ups where necessary. Some areas may be a bit too dark, so some gentle lifting should do the trick. I'm leaving the coat light and only suggesting some stitching along the shoulder. Sign the drawing when you think you are finished.